So over 600 people have tried this bread recipe and have told me that it has changed their lives. And today I'm going to show you why. If you have tried all the bread recipes, tried all the store brands and have been disappointed, then please give this recipe a try. It is soft, it is squishy, it tastes like real bread, and most importantly, it's so easy. You do not even need any baking experience to make it. I am going to show you how. So the bread is mostly made up of flour, so you want to make sure you use a good flour. I highly recommend using cup for cup gluten-free flour, which now does not have any dairy in it. So if you need a dairy-free recipe, that works as well. If you go to my website and you read through the comments, so many people have written in about this recipe and they will tell you what bread flours they used. So you can check out those below. I know King Arthur works well, but sometimes the different flours you use, you have to adjust the amount of moisture, which I always help people troubleshoot that if you have a problem with that. So you'll need 3 cups of flour. Okay, here's a little twist. When I was doing the stunt double for this recipe, so I haven't made one, I wanted to try something because, like I mentioned, Cup for Cup took out the milk powder of their recipe, and I feel like it sacrificed a little bit of the moisture in the baked goods. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take out 2 tablespoons, put that back, and then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of non-fat milk powder. You could just get this in the baking aisle of your grocery store. Obviously, if you need a dairy-free recipe, don't do this, and it works well without it. But I found that it made the bread softer and added more moisture to it. So all you other peeps, let's do this. It's a good trick. Psyllium husk powder. This is what absorbs the moisture in the gluten-free starches, because gluten-free starches do not like to absorb a lot of liquid. This kind of prevents your bread from becoming gummy if you've ever had that issue, and you need a tablespoon of psyllium husk powder. I recommend this brand because it's nice and light and it won't turn your baked goods a weird purple color, and I'll link to that as well. Instant dry yeast. I just buy this in bulk, store it in my fridge, and then I have this little handy measurer, which is the exact same size of a packet of instant yeast. So you need 1 packet, which is 2 1/4 teaspoons, and then a teaspoon of baking powder. Now, typically yeast breads don't have baking powder in it, but with gluten-free yeast breads, I like to add it because it just makes the rise better and it aerates the crumb a little more. And then a teaspoon of salt. And that's all your dry ingredients. It's really fast coming together. So I just mix that on low, and then we're ready to add in the liquid ingredients. All right, for the liquid ingredients, we use 1/4 cup of oil, any oil that you prefer. Some people use melted butter too. 1/4 cup of honey. People have some questions about the honey. I mean, if you could do it, just go for it. It adds moisture, it adds a little hint of sweetness. You can reduce it, you can swap it out for sugar. If you do sugar, it's gonna make the bread a little bit drier, but it'll still add that moisture from the sugar. And then 2 room temp eggs. So since we use instant yeast, we don't have to proof the yeast first. We just pour the water in. I just use tap water and then make sure it's around 100 degrees. This thing, love it. It's gonna come in handy later too. First, just blend everything together for about a minute so it all mixes together. So after everything's mixed together, then we're gonna turn the mixer on about medium low and let it mix for 5 minutes. It's gonna seem a little crazy, but just go for it. So there's no gluten in it, so you don't have to worry about it becoming tough. It'll mix and you'll be fine. But it just gives time for all those starches to absorb with the moisture. You just need that extra time. This is why I use a stand mixer for this. You could use a stand mixer or mix it up in a bread machine. A hand mixer, people have done it, but I honestly would like to be a fly in the wall in the kitchen and see how that was pulled off. I don't see how you could do it. So turn on the mixer, set a timer, and just let it rock for 5 minutes. Bread pans. this, if you want like old school Wonder Loaf bread, I recommend getting this. It's a Pullman 9x4 pan. It bakes it up to like those tall sandwich size pieces, and it's the perfect size for the amount of batter you have. So grease that. Your dough slash, I don't know, it's almost like batter-like at this point, is not going to be like traditional bread-like. It's going to be thinner, but that's fine. And that's also why this recipe is so easy. It just is one rise. You mix it together, plop it in the pan, one rise, and bake. You don't have to shape it. You don't have to do anything to it. So like if you're intimidated by making bread, this is the recipe for you. So just spread that out as much as possible, and then I just cover it with a piece of plastic wrap and set it aside for about 30 minutes, possibly a little less if your kitchen's really warm. The bread will rise to about 2/3 to the top of the pan, and then we just bake it for about 45-50 minutes, and that's it. Okay, so here's the other way this thing comes in handy. You can measure the internal temperature of your bread to see when it's done. So when it's around 45-50, I put it in, and it should be about 195 to 205. The thing about gluten-free bread is it'll look done on the outside, and there's no really way of telling how it's done on the inside. If it's underbaked, it'll be gummy. So that's why I highly recommend an instant read thermometer, and I will link to that below. The other trick that I wanted to tell you, especially if you're using this Pullman pan, is let it cool for about 10 minutes in the pan, and then when you turn it out onto the wire rack, I lay it on its side. Run a knife around the edge to make sure it releases, and then it's such a tall loaf that I let it cool like this. Otherwise, if it's upright, if it's like this, you risk it possibly sinking. So just lay it on its side to cool completely. I would let it cool for at least a couple hours, maybe at least an hour and a half to 2 hours before you slice it. And if you're gonna store it or freeze it, then let it cool even longer than that. Okay, so now that you have the bread that's gonna change your life, what are you gonna do with it? Well, basically everything. You are going to use this bread for everything. It's still just as soft and squishy after it's been frozen. Just make sure it's room temp without any chill on it, and use it for sandwiches, use it for toast. You can use it for breadcrumbs, croutons. I mean, this bread is the legit stuff. I cannot wait for you to try it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.